Hello and welcome, I'm Saffron from saffrondominises.com, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Healing Menarche. Now, menarche is a word that we don't hear very often in our society, and many of us don't even know what it means. Menarche means our first period, and the word is so rarely used that in fact I've only ever seen it written down, and I may not be saying it right, so forgive me if you do know how it's pronounced and I'm saying it wrong. So in today's video we're going to look at what our experience was of that, if it was handled well or if it was handled badly, and how we can heal that. Because our first period should be, if not celebrated, at least considered important, at least considered sacred, really. It's when we come into our power as a woman, and when we embrace that creativity and that magic that women have, and to ignore that or to have a bad reaction to that it's such a shame, and it's so sad, and it's so common for so many of us that it is just not a magical thing. It's not talked about, it's not considered valuable, it's considered something that we need to be quiet about and no one should know about, and that creates a feeling of shame when we can't talk about something and when it's made clear to us that this isn't something we're going to be open about. It creates a lot of shame around that. So we're going to tap for all of those experiences and all of the loss that we might feel around not having a beautifully celebrated first period. So if we begin tapping on the side of the hand as usual, and if you just tap where I'm tapping and repeat what I'm saying. So even though my first period really wasn't celebrated at all, that's okay. I love and accept myself exactly as I am. And even though my first period was hushed up and I began to feel ashamed, that's okay. And I love and accept myself exactly as I am. Even though I might never even have heard the word menarche until today, let alone considered it something to celebrate. That's okay. I love and accept myself fully and completely. This wasn't a celebration for me. It was an embarrassment. I was so full of shame. And I just had to be quiet about it. It wasn't something we talked about in my house. It certainly wasn't something we celebrated. I felt so embarrassed about it. And so ashamed. It's really difficult now to begin to recognise menarche as something magical and sacred. I realise how much I lost by not understanding that then. By not having a community of strong women to explain to me the power that was growing in me, to explain to me the magic that I was now a part of. I never knew about that magic. I never knew about any of that. There was no celebration. There was no acknowledgement. Only shame. And practical measures discussed in hushed voices. Maybe I was given what I needed. In order to pretend that nothing was happening. In order to carry on as normal. But I was never given what I needed to honour what was happening in my body. To honour the woman that I was growing into. That was never discussed. We never talked about any of that. It was all kept quiet. It was all kept hidden. And all of the hiding created shame. I felt all of this shame about the experience that I was having, about what my body had started doing. All of this shame and fear. Passed down by generations of women who were never allowed to celebrate their experience and who never understood their own magic. All of these feelings of loss and all of these feelings of grief for the generations of women whose magic has never been celebrated or acknowledged. I allow myself to feel this sadness and to grieve for all of these women, including me. I experience all of this grief. And I begin to step forward, to move on from this pattern. I choose to honour the experience of the women who came before me and to change my experience now. To change the experience of the girls around me, my daughters and nieces, granddaughters. I choose to celebrate the magic, theirs and my own. I choose to acknowledge this important time. The important time in my life that was never acknowledged when it happened. I choose to celebrate now the woman that I am and the magic that I am part of. Take a deep breath. How did that feel? It's possible that it felt really strange, because this is not the way that we talk about periods. It's not the way that we experience them in our world. In general, that's not the case. There are small pockets where we do acknowledge that magic and creativity, and for the most part that's not the experience for many of us. So I'd be really interested to find out how you felt doing that tapping script, whether it felt powerful, whether it just felt really silly, whether you felt like you were just being ridiculous, whether you had to drop out of it halfway through. If it brought up some intense emotions, then do keep tapping on that. You can use words if words come into your mind, and if not, you can just sit and be with the emotion and tap around the points. If you'd like to get in touch about any of that, you can email me at saffrondemenezes@gmail.com. You can visit the Healing Womanhood group and post there, apply to join, and I will accept you. And there's also a Facebook page called Saffron de Menezes Coaching that you can visit. And I think that's just about it. So I hope that that was helpful for you. I hope that it brought up some interesting things to think about, and I would love to hear from you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!